The following podcast is a part of RadioMisfits.com. The Mr. Nailsin Show is brought to you by me, Night Knight. Head over to IndiePlanet.com to get your copy of the Night Knight comic book so that you can actually see me in action in my one-man war on crime. Shut up, Boo-o! God damn it! I do the announcements. Oh, God. No one gives a crap about Boo-o.
I'm part of the team. Not telling them about false advertising. Yeah,
Stupid idiot.
I help Night Knight fight crime, and we blow stuff up and do a lot of damage. and of course, people get mad at us when we do. But
it's a war on crime, and in every war, there's collateral damage.
I mean, well, I guess it isn't one-man war, because
Exactly.
it's a two-man war on crime.
Anyway, we're running out of time. Don't miss this opportunity to get your hands on the adventures of Night Knight
And Boobo.
The Night Knight comic book available at IndiePlanet.com. And now it's time for the Mr. Nailsin Show. Let me hit the recording. Thank you. All right, for this episode of the Mr. Nailsin Show, I think it's 3. Crap. I don't have Red Neckard in here to remind me of the number. Sorry. But I have a guest, Rob Saul, and he's been here before. And of course, I've done his show for quite a while, off and on, the Rob Saul Show. But a fun little tidbit happened over the past few days. So I thought I would talk to Rob about it, as I'm pretty much on the outside of all of this. But the brief recap is once upon a time, there was a show called Levy Land, which consisted of Bob Levy, Rob Saul, and Chris Abels. And then eventually that show became a part of Shuli Egger's the Shuli Network. And then suddenly it stopped.
Yes.
On the way where we thought at possibly Rob's show, Rob Shaw plays no role in this, would join the Shuli Network as well. Well, that didn't happen. And then Rob all of a sudden revealed certain nastiness about Levy Land exploits and whatnot. And so
wow, it's not nasty. It's just some.
It seems like it.
Some truthful tidbits, Doug.
All right, so Rob, you know the story far better than I do. So, what happened? What led to all of this, and what were the details?
Yeah. So a lot of people are claiming that I did this because I was bitter, and they are absolutely just, it's fucking the truth. And
more bitterness for bitter Rob Saul. I mean, because like I said, of course, Rob's bitter his whole life.
Yeah, I mean, they expect me. Yeah,
this is just another episode.
I'm a bitter guy, but Doug, I mean, you've known me for a long time.
Yeah,
reminds me. Because Kevin Brennan, although he is a much more successful guy than I am, our personalities are similar, where we can't hold down a co-host and all that. Like I always think you're like my Adam. That's the only one that can deal with him for and get along.
Oh yeah.
Because Doug,
so Adam also does not give a crap about anything.
yeah, he's just like laid back and doesn't do anything.
Yeah, well, that's Kevin.
Yeah, because because Doug has outlasted some like real life personal friends of mine doing the show.
Now, to be fair, we are miles apart physically. So,
well, I've had other people that on the internet that live far away from me that I still ended up getting in blowouts with.
Oh,
but yeah, it's anyway, I was just thinking like I was out of work for a while. I'm starting a new job tomorrow, but I said to Bob, I'm like, oh, I get some good stories, I'm going to be out of work for a bit, and oh, cool, whatever, and I told him things, and nothing, and and Chris Abels is getting, "Oh, look at my numbers," and meanwhile, I know what's going on, and why he's got these great numbers, and but he's like, "You're just jealous, Rob." So, and then Bob always tags me in a BS show in the morning, like he tags a bunch of people to remind him it's on. And I noticed that he actually changed the Levy Land Twitter logo off and the name, and changed it to Out of the Coffin. And I was like, I don't know. Then that was speaking of coffin, that was the final nail in the coffin for me. I know, and I don't know why. It's whatever. Levy Land's done, but I'm just like, this pisses me off. And I just said, fuck Bob Levy. I sent a tweet out. Fuck Bob Levy. I'm team MLC, because MLC has always been my favorite podcast. Even when Kevin hated me, talked mad shit about me, I still laughed because it was funny, and I was just like,
you've grown accustomed to people slinging mud at you and hating you.
Yeah. But and I don't find it insulting unless it's not funny. Like when people see me getting insulted, it's because like it's not even funny. Like it's Kevin. It's like I'm laughing, and I'm like, okay, that's funny. So then Kevin, read the tweet and retweeted it, and he reached out to me and asked what's going on. And in the midst of it, I just said I was annoyed, and it wasn't like I got some dirt for you. I know that's what everybody thinks. It's like, I got some dirt for you, Kevy. But we'll get him.
But then you said no, and Kevin said, well, what am I wasting my time with you for?
Yeah. It didn't go. He said, hey, well, what's going on? Why are you pissed off at Bob? I'm like, he just fucking he cancels Levy Land, and then they don't bring the show on, and fucking Chris Abels. And I'm like, and I said, because I can't afford the money to buy viewers and get that. And Kevin's like, what? Back up,
wait a minute.
Back up here. And but and then I proceeded to tell it, and he said, will you come on the show? And I said, of course. Yeah, like, why wouldn't I? I'm not done. He said, I'll even pay you. I said, even better. I'm not working. And it wasn't like, I'll pay you to give you 30. He said, you want to come on the show? And I said, yes, before there was even a discussion about being paid. But, he said, just, will you talk about the paying for viewers? And I said, yeah, sure. And then it just went off the fucking rails from there, especially people like the fans of the show. They come over, and then like my character started being attacked. Well, he's just a junkie. He's a liar. He's bitter. Where's the proof? Where's the proof? Where's the proof? And then there's people sending me clips of the BS show where they're insulting my character. Same thing, calling me drunk, junkie, whatever. And he would have let's see some text messages, or he don't have anything, and then Bob's too lazy and stupid to know how to find someone to buy viewers. And so I was like, you know what, Bob used to come to the studio every week, so maybe it was in person. He told me about him. I might not have proof. I said, you know what, this is no harm checking. It took me a while. And I went down and scrolled through text messages from like a year or two ago, and I found them and I put them out. I said, okay, you asked for it. Here you go. Here's and then it's like, oh, he's just lying. Yeah, and I said, if I was going to lie, I want to implicate myself, because I admitted to buying viewers for the Saul show, because that's why Bob brought it to me, because he said, I have this guy that bumps up numbers. It looks bad, when
you don't have the numbers, even if you got a good show going, people come to it and say, well, why should I waste my time with this show? It doesn't have that.
Yeah. And I said, all right. And then the guy reached, and that was a conversation Bob and I had in person, so I didn't think I had any proof of that. And but then the guy reached out to me, and it was like an Indian guy, and he was talking kind of funny, kind of like almost like a spammer would. So well,
let me just ask you this: is his name Nasir Iqbal?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The guy's been after me for a
Yeah.
long time.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yeah.
I
We went
just like,
over it on. We've been over.
no, thank you.
But then when you pay him, like he give you a payment, it doesn't say payment to him. It goes your payment to Steven Springer. So that's why I think a lot of people, we've coined it Springer Gate. But
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's how we call Chris Abel's buying. Because I guess Melton went through his Venmo will tell you this person paid that person.
Yeah. When Melton came in, he really went through.
Yeah. And
Yeah. I saw it. Yeah. I
well,
saw
I
some
had
of
one
that.
that I screenshotted already that I sent to Kevin, but I guess when Melton he found more and
Right.
listeners did, and you see, Chris Abel's paying Steven Springer, and that's what it shows up when you pay this, and I know that because I paid the guy. Again, I'm not saying my hands are clean and all this. I'm
Right.
just telling
Right. It
the
just
truth. And
yeah.
as you know, Doug, you've known me for years. I can be a scumbag. I could be a problem. I could be nasty. I could be angry. But one thing I don't do is lie, even if it makes me look bad.
I know, because you've told things I don't think
Yeah.
I ever would have admitted.
Yeah,
And you did
exactly.
it on the air.
I am honest to a fault, even when it makes me look bad. I mean,
Even when it comes to the certain intimate medical issues of your beloved dog.
yeah.
Why
um,
so that's another one to add to the bitter
yeah.
story of one Rob Saul.
Yeah, so
But
and I'm it's not, and then it's like, well, now that's not enough proof. It was too long ago. I said, listen, I'm not saying I have a whole dossier sitting here, like, because there are people are saying I'm a whistleblower. I'm like, I just went on and told on MLC, and Kevin asked me questions about what I told him, and then proof, we need proof. This guy's a liar, and I'm like, you don't even have any this or that. So I go, all right, well, let me see. Here, I have this. And they found Chris Abel's paying the guy. Have Bob me texting him, is this the guy that used to bump numbers? Because he was any guy talks funny, and I said I was making sure it wasn't spammer, and Bob said no. Yeah, that's the guy that does it for me.
yeah,
I had that in text, and then then they're saying that's like, and it's like, look, it is what it is. I'm not lying. You see proof where Bob says he does, and that's like, well, Shuley didn't know about it. And I have texted the guy saying, oh yeah, I do stuff for the Shuley network. In messages.
but
Yeah,
he doesn't have like direct communication with Sully. There's no
not as far as I know. Shuley's not friends with
because I
him.
mean, according to Melton, he says, I think this is my tortured diabetic memory that Shuley spoke to him, I guess on the phone or in text or what have you, that he said, hey, I think this Chris Abel's guy might be pulling something here, or something along those lines. So it would come to,
well, yeah, Chris Abels is definitely doing it.
so you're saying like Abels is possibly the main culprit here.
Yeah,
I
don't
he
know.
was bumping up Levy Land numbers and stuff like that.
I thought Bob was. I don't know. Well, Bob's the one that told me about the guy. I don't know if Bob brought him to Chris or Chris brought him to Bob.
Right.
Me and Chris didn't talk about the guy. It was Bob that brought this guy to me about Saul show.
Yeah.
I've never had a discussion with Chris, but I see Chris is obviously paying him. Bob knows about it. He's involved with it. But I don't know who brought who to this guy.
Yeah.
Or if they just got to him separately, because if you look at his mutual friend, and people that do podcasts, they usually accept everybody's friend request because they're just assuming that they're there for heard you from the show or whatever. So
yeah.
This guy just requests. He probably friend requested you, right? And you probably
something along those lines. And I probably saw, he's followed by. Probably saw he was followed by Bob Levy or something like that. I said, okay. And then I completely forgot about it. And then the guy would pop in. He did do one of my videos and he posted, hey, check out the views you got. And suddenly it was like, in less than 24 hours, almost 500 views, I get nothing, and I was like, oh, look, well, I wonder what this is about. And then he started, would you like to get more? And I was like, okay, okay. All right. And then I just I ignored that,
Yeah, that's how he works.
Yeah. So I mean,
but not everybody that's friends with him is buying stuff. friends requests, anybody he knows that does a podcast, and he usually starts off by doing it even without your knowledge and say, look what I did. That was me
Right. He
that did
proves he
that.
can do it. And that's
Because obviously, because he knows nobody, because this guy can actually do it. He can make your subscribers grow. He can bring your live views up as high as you want, depending on what you pay him.
Yeah.
And he can do it also. So he's capable of doing it, so he always does it for everybody first, and then says, look, I did this, I can do it, because most people aren't gonna, podcasters, we're far from rich, we're all pretty poor.
Yes.
And so we're not willing to pay some random Indian guy we see on there that's saying, hey, give me money and I'll bump your views. So he does it first, and then that's when he says, all right, you want more, that spiel.
Right. Now, so ultimately, I mean, say, hey, it's a bit fishy or whatnot, but if someone did that to just get the boost and then the rest is real after that, because, now you can get guests or whatnot and some amount of notice.
Some people were sending me stuff. Chris Abel is paying him constantly. And then one week he puts double as what he's paying for. Like, he must have wanted double the views he normally gets that he pays for.
So, but I mean, this could be like for Chris's show that it boosted him to look impressive to where he becomes a part of the Shuley network.
Well, he comes on, and he's such a smug asshole.
Well, yes, but I mean, I'm getting to the what is possible to have been done.
No, I said that because he does it all of a sudden. He's doing Saul show, and then he starts his own show and Replayables, and then he's like, "Oh, Replayables is monetized. It's a huge success," and it's like it's just him watching clips and getting drunk, and I'm like, and then even Kevin was saying today, like, "Oh God, man, this guy, is really, I don't get it." I'm like, people are really dumb. This many people are watching this, but and then he's right. Rob Saul can't get numbers like this, and I can't afford numbers like that. Yeah, I sure can't.
So, well, because I mean, what did the Replayables jump? Did it have a massive spike all of a sudden or something along those lines?
I think he started paying this guy right away. I think he was doing it with Levy Land. Him and Bob were doing it with Levy Land. I didn't pay this guy for Levy Land at all. I didn't have any involvement with him.
Okay. I mean, because you don't have, you can't directly suspect when it was utilized. And you just know that they mentioned it and discussed it, and then that you used him at one point for Rob Saul show.
For Saul show.
And then
Chris Abels has been paying him consistently up to a few days ago. Well, he probably hasn't paid him publicly since this all came out.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a realistic scenario. Again, I don't know. The rest of everybody's invited to come talk to me about it if they want to.
I'm not lying. What I will say,
well, that's the thing. This is a sticking point for me as well. Is they'd be, well, he's lying. I say, well, you could make an argument based on your own knowledge of the situation that Rob is wrong. You can't really say he believes that this is what happened. He's talking about his experiences. They introduced him to this guy and he utilized it to get views. And so this is what Rob's laying out. He doesn't have, I was in the meetings. We all conspired together to bump up Levy Land and all. You don't have that, right? I mean, they didn't.
No, I mean, not. I don't.
So,
I have the.
But that doesn't mean you're lying. It just means you would be wrong in that situation.
Yeah, no, I have tech. I have text. The text just confirming to Bob. This is the guy we talked about, the bumps up the numbers, and he says yeah. But I do have conversations when Bob was here where he tells me, that he's using this guy to bump up because it's going to look bad. Blah blah blah. As far as Shuley, the guy told me he does stuff for the Shuley network. Maybe that was like a month or two ago. Yeah, I can do that. Like I do. You see the numbers on the Shuley network.
Well, he could be claiming Shuley network because of his work he did for Chris and Bob.
Exactly. Melton doesn't think Shuley knows. Kevin
right now it looks like he didn't.
Kevin thinks he does, and there's no way that he doesn't know and can't keep that. And I don't know, and I just don't know. I can't tell you for sure.
Right.
Because Bob really never had nothing nice to say about Shuley until Shuley left Howard Stern and then started contacting him again. He
that
him as a stand-up guy.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's just the truth.
But that's between the two of them, and it's
Yeah.
also that was the Stern stuff, and obviously when Bob was gone, Stern wouldn't want anybody being friendly towards after that, and that's probably the whatever. But that's all. I think I consider that a separate subject, and they've come together. So again, it's between the two of them, and they seem to.
And Kevin believes these two are so tight that they're doing this together, and that's Kevin's theory.
Yeah,
and it may not be right, but everybody could have their own opinion. I don't know. Everybody keeps saying, "Show me the proof." Shuli knows. I never said I for sure know that Shuli Agar. How do you say Agar? I don't
know. I'm sorry. Shuli.
I've never said Shuli is definitely getting numbers from these guys. Kevin has said that, and I've been in the room when Kevin said that in the show.
Yeah,
but I haven't said that I have proof. Everybody's like, "Where's this proof?" Show I didn't have her. The only thing that I have that implicates not even the Shuli network is he says he works and does stuff with the Shuli network. But that's this guy,
that's
I've never had Shuli and I don't sit around talking business. I mean, we have each other's numbers. We've talked before, and it's usually just, can you come on this day and do that. We don't sit and talk numbers and shop and business. So I can't say, I know for sure 100% Shuli is a part of buying viewers. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But I love when, but I do laugh hysterically because Kevin Brennan makes me laugh when he's yelling that the guy definitely knows he has to know about it. I'm not saying, Kevin, I know he does too. I know for a fact. I'm just laughing. I'm telling you what I know. And everybody's like, he's lying. He's bitter. Blah, blah, blah. I'm maybe bitter, but I'm not lying. I told everybody the truth, and I implicated myself in it. I knew about it.
Yeah,
I did it. I paid the guy. With all the receipts that I sent Kevin and people asking, I sent the receipts of my payments to him. That way they could see it went to Steven Springer, not the Nasir Adik guy, because you see Chris Abel's payments to Steven Springer. So I wanted to show you, when you pay this guy, it goes to Steven Springer, not Nasir whatever.
Well, yeah. I think it's Igbal, IGBAL, something like that. Well, so
does he call you legend too?
I don't recall. I mean,
he'll
send me a lot of times.
One guy said, I'm friends with that guy. He's always saying, "Good morning, legend." I'm like, and I knew he was lying because he says that to me too.
You call Rob Saul legend, but I get nothing. I haven't paid him, so So outside looking in, I'd best guess, I'd say perhaps maybe Bob did utilize this guy. He did introduce it to you. But at this point, I think that, like the BS show, and whether those numbers are real, I think they've garnered an audience. They get
Shuli is now saying Chris Abels, and Chris Abels is for sure. I mean, come on, this show is not good. I mean, it's just it's not. It's just It's a Z-list version of Tosh 2.0 or Talk 2. And now they just, for super chats, get sloppy drunk and take off their shirts. Tonight's ladies' night. Show us your boobs. But it's and it's like, and then it's like
that explains it all.
And then they're it just annoyed me that they're bringing in, rubbing in my face his numbers and his success, and it's like, okay,
it was you could only take so much.
No, Chris Abels has money. I get it. I can't afford to pay that kind of money to make Saul show look good enough to get. And I guess an investment, because once you do get people in there, even if it's not obviously it's all bots, all these extra showy numbers to show off of, but there are actual people that come in because it's the Shuli network, and he does have a following that come in and they spend money on super chats. And so he's making money from that. So maybe it's like an investment. Well, I'm going to make money once I get on there, but I didn't have that money to invest to, boost up Saul show numbers like that. That way we could get on Shuli Network and make money. And that's what I want to do. I wanted at least Doug's been doing this with me for years to be able to pay Doug something for all the stuff he does. So I said, if we get to Shuli Network, we'll be getting super chats and stuff like that. Whether maybe it won't even be a lot, but we'll get something, right, and it'll be some sort of payment for what we're doing. And
well, that's another thing. I mean, I think the super chats would be the main goal rather than, I mean, okay, you got a lot of views, we'll give you a tryout. And but if the super chats don't deliver, then I don't really care what views you got.
Yeah, exactly.
But
showy thing. I mean,
so,
Chris Abels,
I never had a problem. I never had a problem with Chris Abels. I when we did the show, I could see you two going at each other, and I thought it was a bit. And then later, after a while, like, oh, they really don't like each other.
I think he's unique because he's nice to me off the air and always acted generous. Will do anything, but then he just comes on and he goes on and he lies about me. He just makes up stuff, and I just listen to the stuff he says about me, and I'm like, wow, this guy. And some of it, I mean, some of it's like a stretch of the truth. Like that's what Bob Levy did. He would take a little truth I have and like stretch it to make it like over exaggerate it, which kind of annoyed me. But Chris will come out and just tell like a bold-faced lie about a conversation we had and talk about it. And I'm like, that never happened.
Well, that's too bad. So again, I don't know what happened. But I can see the suspicions here.
Yeah, I'm not claiming to have all the answers because everybody keeps telling me to elaborate, and I'm like, I've been on so many shows this week, and if I elaborated what I know, and if you say you make your own choice, then Ray DeVito goes, well, who cares? I'm like, I don't know. I just Kevin Brennan cares, I guess. Well, we were having a conversation, and I brought up Chris because he was asking me why I was annoyed, and he said, "Oh, come on my show and talk about it," and I did. And people obviously, who cares? Obviously, a lot of people, because
I mean, ultimately, would I care? No, not really.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Shuli does a good show. I like his show. I think it's funny. I do get tired of the Stuttering John stuff, but the bulk of the audience does it. And if it keeps working for him, I perfectly respect and understand the pursuit of that. But the rest of the show, I think, is pretty funny. They have a good, formula there between them. And as it goes, and when I'm conscious, I watch it, and
I
all
always
that. So it would be like a bit of a stain if you find out that to get started or what have you, that Levy and Abels did this, and that sort of thing. But I mean, I could see that that Abels would get the big target. Because I mean, like Shuli himself, do you guys really believe that Bob Levy is capable?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, there is a point to be made.
No, you know what? I even said that to Kevin Brennan off the air. I said I was watching. I just tuned in. I won't sit and watch the whole thing anymore because I just, I always enjoyed the show. I never liked really the Uncle Rico stuff and like that. I'm just not but BS I always did. But I know I'm a public enemy #1, and I'm not going to sit. I'm not one of those people that cares when people sit and bash me where I got to hear every horrible thing they want to say about me. But
you're not into that, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, most people aren't, but some people can't help themselves. But I start cringing like a little bit when they start getting to it, and I just But but anyway, I did. I heard that, said to Kevin. I go, they're saying Bob is too lazy and stupid to figure out how to pay someone.
Well,
and I said, and that's actually a really good one. I said, if he didn't actually come to me and tell me about this guy, I would have believed that. Like, yeah, you're right, he is. But yeah, maybe Bob doesn't know how to work Venmo, but he's having Chris Abels do it, and he knows about it, and he told me about it and brought the guy to me. He even described the guy's name for me, and like, oh no, he said he's like an Indian guy. And then when he started messaging me, that's when I texted him and said, is this the guy? Because that bumps the numbers. And he said, yeah. And I have that text. That's my, and Bob knew about it. Yeah, I know Bob doesn't know how to work Venmo or PayPal. Yes, Gina do everything for him. I don't know if
Well,
Gina was paying this guy, which I don't think he probably had Chris doing it, because you see it's Chris Abel's
well, that
making.
seems the likely scenario where they'll
Yeah.
go. That sorry, Chris, but it's not looking good for him on this, because I mean, you say who cares? Who cares? I say, well, ultimately, Shuley would care. Maybe not up front, but
Yeah.
you know, and
Well,
so
it's falsifying your, and I get it, and I did, because I was going by the theory of what Bob was saying. It looks bad. We're trying to get at the time. I think we're trying to get a show on Compound Media, and and then I was part of it, and I was doing Saul show, promoting it on there, and he said, use this guy, he'll bump your numbers up, and
but that wouldn't mean that
but at
he's
the end of
doing
the
it.
day, what Kevin says is, you're falsifying it, and YouTube doesn't like it. It's sort of
Well, that's
against
the bigger threat here.
Yeah.
This gets back to YouTube, that there's serious repercussions there. You could lose your channel and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's enough there, enough smoke to say there's some fire. I'm afraid it's unfortunate, but I'm thinking they're going to blame Chris Abels for it, and and he's going to lose out here. But there's enough there.
Yeah,
So you can't
that's what a lot of
just
people are
laugh
saying.
it off. I'm sorry, but I mean, it's unfortunate, because I
Kevin
think they
Brennan
do a good
thinks
show. But but
Kevin Brennan thinks that they're just gonna use Chris Abels because he's the lowest on the totem pole, and just throw him under the
well,
bus. And Kevin firmly believes that. I know that Bob definitely knows about it. So yeah, they are. It isn't just Chris Abels, but as
yeah.
far as Shuley, I'm not aware. I'm not that close with Shuley to know. And Shuley and I never had a personal conversation or written conversation about this guy. So,
Well, in the political realm, Shuley has plausible deniability. And I mean, I take the man at his word if that's the bit he'll take. I mean, because I don't see, I think that's a reasonable conclusion on it, based on all of this. At the outset, it's like, well, you have evidence that it was discussed, and you have your own admission that you used it. So they can still deny that they ever did. But it becomes a little, the suspicion is there permanently as a result of this. And so it still doesn't completely conclude that, Shuley Network was heavily involved in this sort of thing. So that's the outset of it. So in the end, I mean, you're telling what you know, and you're being honest and all of that. But was it worth it, Rob? Was it worth it to shave your beard, to remove the mask, and come out? Because I mean, you and Bob were friends and everything, and I know you've had your fights and whatnot, and arguments, and get mad at each other and stuff like that. Everybody does that, but I don't think you guys are ever going to be friends again after this, and I think that it's sad.
I mean, it is Bob.
Because he's never going to trust you again.
Well, yeah. Well, it's just, it is what it is, and I feel bad because I was close with Gina. She became out,
right.
But it is what it is.
Well, okay.
I'm not going to say Bob is a horrible.
I mean,
guy.
the one thing about it is, I suppose if you were concerned about it and you went to Shuley and said, "Look, this is the deal," privately, what would you have thought that'd be a better take on this, rather than dumping it all out in front of everybody?
Well, like I said, I mainly blew up about I was mad, annoyed that
well, that you were being left out, and Levy Land ending and all that.
That Levy Land was done. They said they would give Saul show a tryout, and it was radio silence and ghosts, and I was like, well, fuck them. And I said, you know what, I like, and I do, and I'm like, they're very anti Kevin Brennan. I know Kevin Brennan, very similar personality to me. loses his temper quick, and I enjoy the show. And I said, at least fuck that. I'm team MLC because at least Kevin is honest about his dislike for me. It's not just fake, his fake about it. Yeah, I said at least he's not fake about it, pretending he's a friend. And I mean, I said, and he makes me laugh, so I'm fucking team MLC. Kevin saw it, retweeted, he reached out to me, and it wasn't like I sat and go, I'm not on the network. I know that's what people think, and they're probably not going to believe me, but I'm telling you, Doug, because I'll tell you the truth. Yeah, it was like a fuck you type of thing. It was never like, I have all this stuff now, I'm gonna get them because they didn't give me a show. No, I just kind of did like a little Twitter flip out rant. And Kevin messaged me and said, well,
Kevin, what have we here?
What's going on? And in that conversation, I mentioned about the buying views thing too, and how I can't get a show on there because I can't buy the views like Chris Abel's. And then the conversation got blown up from then. I didn't go looking for proof and anything like that until everybody said, oh, this guy's a junkie, a fucking liar, a loser. He's gonna.
Yeah, that's always a problem. Everybody pretty much knew that already.
And
because it's like, no, you got to deal with the accusation of what facts you have. Just trashing that Rob's an asshole and
yeah,
so and that's
what I said. You can call me a junkie. Yeah, I did get. Well, I've had problems with alcohol. I've had after the back surgery, I had problems with pills. Got off those. I've been honest about it. Should I have been? Probably not. Probably not a good idea to air your dirty laundry out when people are going to use it against you. But like I said, I'm honest to a fault. So yeah, I've had my problems. I do have a short temper. I have acted like a scumbag, but I don't lie. I'm not saying I'm incapable of lying, like telling a white lie or whatever, but I'm just not the type of guy that just makes up stuff and lies.
Yeah.
And
well.
But yeah, but I'm telling you that wasn't, how it went down. Where it's like, all right, they're not giving me a show. I got this numbers thing in my back pocket. I'm going to go to Kevin Brennan. It kind of happened organically. I just kind of bitched and said I was team MLC because at least that guy's honest about this, not liking me and thinking that I was a horrible.
So that's how okay. So you made that point, and then Kevin reaches out. Well, what's this about? And then that you basically just told him. Well, I mean, it's still. I mean, there is some credence to the idea that you were irritated with them for being sort of left out. Yeah, so that's what pissed you off.
And and it was building up to things because I was in between jobs and I was making no money, and like usually like I'm turning down like everybody with Levy Land's working around my work schedule, and it was annoying. I'm like, hey, I'm free, I'm ready to do it. It was radio silence. And then when I thought I'm like, and then fucking Chris Abel's buying his fucking numbers, gets 2 shows a week, making super chat money. The guy's already got money. He's probably spending more money on the views than he is making on super chats. But
well, I imagine, I guess
but it's just I was annoyed by it. Yeah, I was. And I just lost my temper, made a tweet that involved MLC because I said, at least this guy says he don't want me on the show, and and then that turned into him wanting me on the show. But
oh well, all right. Well,
I didn't reach out to him and say like, Kevin, can I do your show? I have this.
No, he saw your tweet.
He saw my tweet.
He's like, yeah, his
Kevin
instinct, his Kevin sense was tingling, and he thought, I think there's something.
And Kevin did reach out to me, and he even said it on air. Kevin is not going to lie for me. Kevin and I, as much as he's enjoying this, I'm sure he's not going to say Rob Saul's a good friend of mine and he's going to protect me. I know that. Like it's not. And everyone's like, oh yeah, Kevin's this is like, you think you could trust Kevin? It's like, it's not like I'm saying, all right, yeah. Now me and Kevin are going out to dinner next week. It's
yeah. Well, it's all unfortunate. in a lot of ways because like again, I've liked all these people involved, and I can see where people can say, well, there's a lot of smoke here, so there must be some amount of fire, and I guess maybe we'll see it spelled out. But what are you gonna do? I could see an argument where they said, well, Rob should have kept his mouth shut. But at the same time, if this happened exactly as you suspect, Shuley needed to know that. And I thought, well, maybe, like I said, you probably could have talked to him privately about it.
You know what? You talk about regretting it. Let me tell you this too. Shuley, but even I just wanted to show to generate some super chat from. Even when they brought me on, they would when I want to do plugs, they would do shit like just shut me off to do plugs. They would do bits where they would let people do even for like a low $8.62 super chat. They would throw me off the show, and I didn't generate anything. Now, like when I do a stream, people are tuning in since I've been on Brennan's show. I'm getting tons of interaction. Everybody's wanting me to do their show. So, and this is something Kevin generated from what he does, and where the Shuley, and that they just wanted to make me the butt of the joke, which I'm fine with that, but it wasn't doing anything for me. So
again, we end where we began. You're a very bitter man.
I'm just saying, I'm doing Kevin Brennan. Whether he hasn't been a friend to me over the years, and but
you're saying at least he was upfront and honest with you while
he's upfront and
people
honest.
You thought were your friends weren't really your friends. Is that how you see it? Okay.
Yes, well, he's not bumping me off for an $8 super chat. He's not he's keeping me on the show. He pays me when I do the show, and he's generating numbers anytime I go on, and interaction and other people, and that's coming from Kevin and all his viewers that are all unique and not bots.
Well, again, I mean, I laugh and joke and everything, but I find this all very, very sad. And I mean, I understand, like, yeah, you shouldn't be buying views. But like for you personally, I kind of thought, I don't know, I mean, in the long run, maybe you'll be all right. But I mean, because it, like I said, I think you and Levy are done. And that's unfortunate. But like for me, my approach to all of this is I do this for fun. I'm not expecting stardom or or even a way to make a living.
Well, no, I wasn't trying to make a living, but or stardom even for that.
Right. To avoid getting too wrapped up in it. Again, I don't know if Abels has got a different take to this that proves that's not what he was doing. Fair enough. But even so, I think that the pursuit of this is a bit much to put you in that position. And especially if, this is manipulation against Shuley, apparently, if this plays out the way I suspect. I don't know. But again, it's rather sad and whatnot, and because of the friendships and that are damaged by all of this and that sort of thing. But what are you going to do? That's for the audience. They're all like eating popcorn, and everybody's going to get more views now. For a while,
I'm sort of aware of. This isn't about stardom to me, and this is not something that I plan on just gonna. And like I said, it wasn't nothing that I even planned on. Like I said, I didn't make it a show. I've been sitting on this for a while. I'm gonna do
right.
But I did express when Kevin and I talked that I was annoyed that they said that they'd let me and you do a Saul show on there, Doug, and see how it went. And then nothing. from him, and Chris Abels gets 2 shows a week, and I know that he's fucking fudging the numbers to do it. And again, when I go on BS show, I'm the joke. Throw him off before he can do his plugs, kick him out super. And then they'll be like, oh, how do you feel? Chris Abels is the big superstar of the network. His drinking show is the best. Are you jealous? Are you jealous? And I'm just thinking in the back of my head, no, I'm not jealous. Am I annoyed? Yeah, but definitely not fucking jealous.
Well, especially since you believe that it's fake. I mean, if that's
it's
the case,
it's 99.9% sure. Like, okay. I don't know who you said that, but I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
There's gotta be, there's no, I mean, it's not possible. He's sending money to this guy. His numbers are just, and it's not like this is a show he's developed over a year. And it's just like all of a sudden his channel gets, I didn't even know he had a channel, and then all of a sudden it's monetized, and then he's on, and just look at these numbers, woo, the biggest numbers tonight, like, and it's like, and then you go in there and it's the same 10 people or whatever chatting, but there's 1,000 or 500 at a time watching live, and then I mean, one week 8,000 views, and he's like, oh, look at this.
Yeah. Well. I can understand to some extent.
It just doesn't make sense. If it doesn't make sense, it's usually not true, Doug. If it doesn't make sense,
what?
You're
trying to tell me there's no Santa Claus?
Yeah. And apparently, before I came out with this, I hear all these people going, all these other podcasts. It's like, yeah, we were watching Chris Abel's number, and we're like, what the hell's going on? Like, everybody was suspicious. Nobody was saying anything because they liked him. But as soon as I, so I had one thing that I saw, because my aunt Venmo'd me money. And when I went to grab it, it gives you a list and stuff. And I see Chris Abels paid Steven Springer. I was like, oh, like, so, but then I guess the Dabbleverse or whatever they call it now, and Melton, they went through deep dives on Venmo and found more Chris Abels receipts to this guy. I don't know. I mean, I saw one somebody sent me or tweeted me where he said he was paying or double. He put double real big in all caps as the reason for the payment. Maybe that was the 8,000 view.
Somebody dabbled a little too much. Yeah. Oh, well. Well, again, it's all very sad. But sad. It's been entertaining.
And that's what it's about. It's about entertaining. And it's like, now I'm everybody, Rob Saul, we're done. He's persona non grata, he's whatever. But it's like Chad Zumock has done all kinds of things, and they're best buddies with him. The stuff, I'm not even going to repeat it, and I don't want to say, but the stuff he said about Bob's wife and her daughter, I was appalled that he would speak. Well,
yeah, that
he would speak to this guy again, but because I say he pays for it, and then Bob is telling people he's bought drugs at my house, and somebody said they're like, Bob will admit he's buying drugs from Rob Saul, but he won't admit to buying views. What is going on?
Well, there is again, like Shirley said, there's an explanation and out for Bob here. Not so much for Chris, I'm afraid, because I mean, Bob's been through a lot, I can't help but love the guy,
Yeah.
But
that, you say Bob buys numbers and knows about it. I'm done for life, unforgivable. But I mean, the shit he said about his Chad Zumock said, and he's Chad's a good guy. He's a good egg,
I can't explain this. Can you?
Yeah.
Tell somebody about it. I'll be asleep. Rob, thanks for coming on the show. I don't know. I can't say congratulations. And you still want to do the Rob Saul show, I guess. So we'll be doing that, I guess, Tuesday nights.
Yeah, Tuesday night at 9. Sorry about last week. I was my godson.
Well, something happened.
Yeah.
And the occasional Rob does his solo morning Rob show every now and then. You might catch him there.
Yeah, I have been doing it every morning, but this morning I was getting ready for a job interview, so I was kind of up running around. And
well, that's going to change things when you start your new job. So
yeah,
we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
All right, Rob. It's been interesting.
It sure has.
And everybody should have their say, and could maybe turn it all around. I don't know, but just thought I would ask Rob what the deal is, because I know the guy, and hopefully at some point there'll be some happiness in people's future at some point.
Yeah. Was it the nicest thing to do, Doug? No, I agree.
Yeah.
Is it the truth? Yes. That's all I can tell you.
Well, you know, it's often been said that the truth is seldom pretty. And it's often said because, well, that in and of itself is more times than not true. So what are you going to do? All right, Rob, thanks for doing the show. We'll talk again soon.
All right. Thanks, Dougie.
The views and opinions expressed during the Mr. Nailsin show do not necessarily reflect those held by RadioMisfits.com. So, any complaints and or comments should be sent to @Mr. Nailsin on Twitter, where they will be promptly ignored and or blocked.